As a player, you can be reasonably selfish. You can think about yourself, but coaches have to think about everyone. It's a difference between doing something and getting others to do it.
Didier Deschamps is the most successful captain that France has ever had. In a golden era for French football, he guided the team to a FIFA World Cup win in 1998 and a European Championship in 2000. Now head coach, he's looking to lead the nation to glory again at next year's European Championship in France.
As a player, I always considered the national team to be above everything else. Playing for France at the European Championship, the World Cup, it's above everything. The fact that we're going into this tournament as the host nation compels us to achieve good results. But ultimately, you always go to a big tournament wanting to get the best results possible. So that's what we'll try and do. But we'll look to use the home support and passion as an encouragement rather than a pressure. We have to start this European Championship with a lot of ambition and determination, knowing full well that we'll have the whole of France behind us.
And the omens for Les Bleus are good. It was on home turf that France won football's biggest prize in 1998, and it was Deschamps leading them.
As a professional footballer, nothing tops winning the World Cup. Nothing. And on top of that, it was in France. And it was against Brazil. It was a dream, our moment of glory. When I went up to pick up the trophy, I was the captain, so I took my time. Although it still went by very quickly. It was wonderful. People still talk to me about it. Photos and DVDs still exist, so it is still part of my life, and it certainly changed my life as a sportsman. But the most important thing now is what is ahead of us, ahead of me.
In what is his fourth managerial position since retiring as a player in 2001, Deschamps has embraced the challenge of spearheading France's new generation.
As a coach, you need to adapt. You can't do what you did 17 years ago. The context has changed, and the players have changed. Experience is important, of course, including experience gained at clubs. As a competitor, my goal is to win matches and be decisive, but not to the detriment of the game. I know that by having more possession, we're more likely to have opportunities. It's one big power balance. It depends on the opposition facing us too, but it's not only about tactics or what happens on the pitch. Today, it's very important for a coach to build up relationships with the players too.
Already qualified for Euro 2016 as hosts, you could forgive French fans for indulging in the dream of winning once more. After a frustrating few years, Deschamps' emphasis on youth in last year's World Cup squad saw a reinvigorated Les Bleus make it all the way to the quarter-finals.
I had 8 or 9 players under 25 at the World Cup, so there was no real experience of a major tournament. It was a wonderful adventure. We were there for more than 5 weeks. Of course, disappointment also kicked in after we were eliminated, even if it was against Germany, the world champions to be. But it allowed the French national team to pick up a lot of support and have the fans behind the team again. We really felt that when we were in Brazil, as many French people had travelled over, but also when we came back to France. We found our place again within the world's rankings.
France's 1-0 defeat to Germany and Brazil was their only loss in 2014. And Deschamps is aware that it's likely the reigning world champions will again be the ones to watch next June.
The saying goes, you always play against Germany, and in the end, it's always Germany that wins. That's the way it is. I think we came close, but it made sense that this German team beat us, as they'd been playing together for 8 years. It's the details that made the difference, and the wealth of experience was more on their side. But the tide will have to turn eventually. Records are there to be beaten at some point.
y a un moment où on puisse les faire changer aussi. Donc,
So if we get paired against Germany, we'll be ready to face them. In November, we're playing a friendly against them. In a tournament, the Germans are fierce. They're true competitors. They've always had this physical prowess, this power. And with this new generation of players like Goetze and others, there's a new technical element added to the mix. And they're world champions.
Voilà, ils ont été champions du monde.
Only time will tell if next year's European Championship can take French football into a new era of glory. And yet again, it could be their former captain who's at the helm.
La Coupe du Monde au Brésil.
The World Cup in Brazil was a great starting point to prepare for the Euros. Of course, some players will continue, some will stop. I have a lot of players that are under 25. If they keep performing at the highest level, they should remain in the national squad for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. We hope to better our performance, and ultimately, we should do well at the next European Championship and the forthcoming World Cup in Russia.
Qui va venir et après pour la Coupe du Monde en Russie.